Welcome back to the Madden 23 Lions franchise. So we're probably in the most exciting part of the season, which is actually the off season, because that's when free agency and the draft happens. And I know you guys love these sorts of videos. So first, please make sure to subscribe. About 90% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed. So if you want to continue to follow along with the franchise and any future franchises I make sure to hit that subscribe button so you actually see it in your feed. Next, I've split the video up into two sections. The first is free agency and the second is the draft. So if you want to skip free agency and go straight to the draft and our draft picks, just take a look at the timestamps or the timeline of the video. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Right now, we are just after the Super Bowl, and obviously, if you guys did not see the last episode, we lost 42-35 by one touchdown ultimately to the Texans. It was a heartbreaking loss, but we are moving on, and again, we just need to continue to make adjustments and retool this team and best adjust this team to go ahead and win the upcoming Super Bowl. We need to make some changes, obviously, that are going to help us in the long run. And one of the problems is we have so many players on this team that need new contracts, and one of them is Tariq Woolen. We got to make sure to re-sign Tariq Woolen, and then we got to make sure that we have salary cap room for our draft picks and our other free agents. Taking a quick look at mock draft number 3 right now. Otis Benedict has dropped to number 4. Ronnie Lang, Tyree Sally, and Kevin Sanborn are up there. Kevin Sanborn and Tyree Sally, both left tackles. Gabriel Whitlock has moved up to the number 5 spot, potentially going to the Vikings, which would be really interesting moving into our division. Chance McAllister at number 6. Let's see. Got a couple of players on here. We already have scouted a number of players we're looking at potentially drafting. And Dontrell Parker is still available there at D tackle, which is nice to see for us at number 31 possibly. But the number one player we were interested in was Sean Hazelwood. We'll see if he is still available or not. But right now it looks like he's going to be taken by the Texans. So hopefully that is not accurate. So Von Miller wins the Super Bowl with the Texans and retires. Tyrod Taylor retires. Cameron Brate is retiring along with Paul Questenberry. Jason Pierre-Paul, Mercedes Lewis, and Kevin Zeitler end up all retiring, so we need to fill the spot at right guard. Any other major retirements? Trent Williams is retiring. Demario Davis is retiring. And Cam Newton retires. A lot of other free agent players ended up retiring as well. All right, this is our last chance to re-sign some players. Obviously, the most important is Tariq Woolen, and if he's not going to re-sign, that means we're going to have to franchise tag him. So $21 million. It is what it is. We do have a little bit of space because of some retirements. Eric Stokes, obviously, we want to re-sign him as well. Cordarrelle is going to drop in overall, so we cannot re-sign him, unfortunately. I do want to re-sign our backup right tackle. Let's see what we can get him for. Will he re-sign? He re-signs. That's great. And then Eric Stokes, it's very important that we get him to re-sign. He's somewhat interested. I want to go ahead and do player-friendly, and he will re-sign, which is good to see. I think the reason why I thought he'd re-sign is just because his re-sign interest was slightly above half. All right, now looking at the combine results, this is the guy we were most interested in. I'm very curious to see what his stats are looking like. A 4.59 at 6'5" is insane. The number 2 right outside linebacker for speed. He's very high up there in almost every category. For bench, it's okay. Vertical is very high. Broad jumps high. 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle are high as well. And yeah, no, I like everything about him right now. And if he's available, he's the player that I probably want to draft. Dontrell Parker, on the other hand, let's see what he's looking like. Yeah, he's kind of ranking up there for 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. He's pretty quick. He's high up there for bench and vertical. And his 40 is not even bad either, so he's looking pretty good. Taking a look at Tevin Barrett, who we were also interested in. He has the fastest 40 for a defensive end at 4.63. He also is pretty high up there for vertical, broad, and 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. So he's got a lot of things we like to see. Taking a look at Jaw Taylor. He's a little bit slower, not jumping off the page in terms of the combine. Looking at Otis Benedict. He's also a little bit more average. Justin Bronson, very fast at middle linebacker, running a 4.48. Pretty good 20-yard shuttle as well. Not the most, physically dominant with his bench being kind of low, but yeah, very quick. And he's also 6 feet tall. Looking at the best available free agents right now, Justin Tucker is number 1. Chase Young is number 2. Kyle Fuller and Harrison Smith are on here. DeAndre Swift. And then Hunter Renfrow and Eddie Jackson. Okay, we're going to see if this works. We're going to try to trade away Tyron Smith for a first and a third from the Bills. It'll be the 17th pick in this year's draft. And the reason we're thinking about trading Tyron Smith is because he has a huge cap hit. And also, he got injured more than any lineman on our team. He's very injury prone. And the deal's good. Okay, we probably could have got a little bit more, but we decided to trade him away because, again, yeah, he got injured so much for us and was hardly available. We have a good backup right tackle, and we might move either one of our right tackles over to left tackle. So here is mock draft number 5, fully updated. Jake Klein, who we had on the board for quite a while, is now number 2 at right tackle. So he's moved up into the top 5, along with Chance McAllister, Ronnie Lang, Gabriel Whitlock, and Kevin Sanborn being the number 1 pick for the Ravens. And Otis Benedict is number 6 still. Seeing if anyone else moved around. Sean Hazelwood has now moved up to the number 10 spot, which is unfortunate. I think we still are going to have to try to trade up to get him. He is definitely a player we really want to have on the team. He's our number 1 prospect right now. Tevin Barrett's at number 14. Tyrone Torrance is at number 16. We have the number 17 pick, and we could get Dontrell Parker there. Looking further down the list, let's see who else is being taken. Ja Taylor's being taken later. We do have a 31st pick. For the 31st pick, it says we're taking Justin Bronson. I don't think we're going to be taking him there. All right, so looking at the free agency recap, too, there were a number of free agents available, ranging from Justin Tucker and Chase Young down to some other important players like Tua Tagovailoa getting taken by the Buffalo Bills in free agency. Cordarrelle ended up signing with the Bills as well, so that'll be an interesting combo. We ended up not signing anyone in free agency, not a single player. We only have $16 million cap space. We have to have enough to sign our draft picks, and then also we might be making a couple more moves later on. I was going to wait to potentially re-sign Cordarrelle after seeing how much he regressed, but now he's on the Bills, so it is what it is. We're not going to be able to re-sign him. We're just going to have to go forward, and again, we might be making some more signings in free agency after the draft. There is almost no interest for Troy Anderson across the league, and I just want to end up getting him off the roster. And while it makes sense to have him as a backup, we're going to go ahead and just trade him for 2 sevenths. And that might not make any sense because, why not just keep him on the team? You know, he has a small contract. But we're going to move him out the roster because we want to clear space for other people for the roster. We're going to be moving some players around and possibly moving Baron Browning or Christian Harris around or Kenneth Murray Jr. Damon Clark might become a middle linebacker. All right, so we're going to be trading Kenneth Murray Jr., Max Crosby, and a 6th-round pick for the number 8 overall pick in the draft, a 2nd, and a 4th. And that didn't quite work either. So it's going to be a 1st, a 2nd, and a 6th, because this will probably end up actually going through. Nope. A 1st and a 2nd. Okay, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and get into the draft. The Ravens have the number 1 overall pick, and they're expected to take, I think it's Kevin Sanborn, the left tackle. And I think sometimes it takes up to 20 seconds, and if it does, we're just going to go ahead and continue to skip through. But I think they're going to take Sanborn here right now. Yep, they do take Kevin Sanborn at the number 1 overall pick out of Penn State, the left tackle. We'll have to see how good he is, but he was basically the number 1 pick consensus in the mock drafts the entire time. So the Pats have the number 2 pick, and they do take Jake Klein, who we were kind of looking at for a while, the right tackle, 6'7", out of Virginia. He looked like just a pure beast at right tackle. I wish he would have dropped to us, but he ends up getting taken number 2 overall. So he shot up the boards because originally he was projected as like a 1st to 2nd round pick. Chance McAllister out of Oregon, the corner, getting taken by the Commanders. The Bengals have the number 4 pick, and they are taking Ronnie Lang, the quarterback. So a little interesting. We lost to the Bengals in the regular season by 3 because they had Tua, and now they move off of Tua because Tua is going to the Bills, and they draft Ronnie Lang out of North Dakota instead. Now the Vikings have the number 5 pick, and who are they going to take? They're taking Gabriel Whitlock out of Nevada, another quarterback going. Number 6, this will be interesting to see. The Bears took Otis Benedict, one of the players that we were taking a look at for a while, but ultimately we have somebody else in mind at right outside linebacker that we really want to get ourselves. But Otis Benedict will be a player that we're going to have to worry about throughout the future now on the Bears. It'll be interesting to see what he plays like when we play against them in the regular season. And now we have our number 8 pick. And I'm curious to see what some of the trade packages might be for this pick. And it's all a bunch of draft picks. Let's see. It's all for mostly future years or later. We're going to go ahead and keep it because we know exactly who we want to draft. So we got rid of Max Crosby. And a lot of you guys might be like, why would you get rid of Max Crosby? He is like a 95 overall left outside linebacker. He's probably the highest left outside linebacker available in the game. And it's because we want this dude, Sean Hazelwood. It's either Sean Hazelwood, and again, it says round 1 to 2, but he's got physicals that I don't see on most players. I'm looking at Tevin Barrett for a second here. But, yeah, he's 100% scouted round 1-2, but his physicals are ridiculous. A 4.56 makes him number 3 at linebacker, but he is 6'5". He has a good bench. He's got 8 bench, and then his 3-cone and his 20-yard shuttle are also really good. His vertical is very good as well, and so he's a physical specimen. He also has decent block shed, decent pursuit. The other thing about him is he has a finesse move. He's got C hit power, which is not great, but he also does have decent man and zone. His tackling is okay. So those are things that we can work on, but 86 speed and 90 excel for a 6'5" player, that's a little bit better than Max Crosby, and I think, again, we can continue to develop him. And I don't want him to just be a speed rusher. I want him to do a little bit of everything. And I'm excited to see what his overall actually is. And his strength is pretty decent. His jumping is okay. But yeah, 6'5", 22 years old out of Clemson. This guy could be like a Miles Murphy kind of player maybe. Now, the Raiders, they have the number 9 pick. They take Von Melvin. And the reason we traded up to number 8 is because we thought we might be able to get Sean Hazelwood at number 17. But it looked like the Niners were actually going to take him, so the Niners instead take Donald Irons out of San Diego State, another right outside linebacker. The Colts take Kareem Hamilton, the corner out of Penn State. And the Packers, this is an interesting one. It's in division, so the Packers take Enrique Bruce, the 6'5" wide receiver at LSU. That is a good pick. Some help for Derek Carr. I mean, they already have a good offense with Deebo Samuel, but Enrique Bruce is, 6'5". He's going to be a great target for them. Tyree Sally out of Florida, the left tackle, going to the Giants. Cardinals have the 14th pick, and they take Tevin Barrett. Continuing to stock up on edge rushers. Tevin Barrett was, second on my board, kind of. Number 16, they take Ezekiel Hughes, and hopefully Dontrell Parker stays and that he's not taken. And Tyrone Torrance was one of the players we were kind of interested in as well. He ends up getting picked off the board, so that does kind of suck. He was a player that could be a real difference maker. We're going to have to see what he ends up looking like. But now looking at the big board here, Dontrell Parker is available, but are any other D tackles available right now that we really want to look at? Okay, so one position we've needed for a really long time is a D tackle. We have just been kind of using a bunch of free agent veteran players like Brandon Williams, and then we drafted Nate Vasher last year, who had some success as a pass rusher, but we need an overall D tackle that can, shed blocks, can be a pass rusher. We need an interior force at D tackle, basically. And Dontrell Parker has a little bit of everything. Number 2 in bench, 41 reps is insane. Pretty high up there in the 40. He's got good vertical, which is, I don't even know if that really matters. He's got good broad jump, really high 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. So physically, he's great. He's a little bit more raw in terms of his skill set. His block shed's only a C. His power move and his finesse move are about a B each. Tackle is very high, so that's good. His hit power is very high for a D tackle. But we're going to be taking him here. And we don't know his overall, but he has hidden dev, so that's automatically a win. 93 strength, 82 excel, 74 speed. Already looks really good. I'm very happy with that pick. Now, moving forward in the draft, the Jets draft quarterback Eli Gore, who was originally projected to go number 5 overall, but has slipped down the board down to 18. And so he might be a replacement for Aaron Rodgers. I didn't see Aaron Rodgers retire, but Aaron Rodgers was just on the Jets, so that's an interesting pick there. Another Jordan Love situation, potentially. Le'Veon Moss drafted out of Clemson, the left tackle to the Rams. The Titans drafting Tim Overstreet, the D tackle out of Georgia. He also looked like a really solid D tackle, but he was a little bit more of a pure pass rusher. The Texans now have the number 21 overall pick. I'm curious to see who they draft. And they draft Andrew Dillon, the strong safety out of Texas A&M. Falcons up next, and the Falcons have a great defense. And dang, they drafted Matthew Rayford, who I was pretty interested in at left guard. I thought he might slide down to the 31st pick, but he did not. He got picked up by the Falcons. Marquise Nash, the wide receiver out of Florida State, gets drafted by the Chargers. And the Chargers still have Tom Brady as well. Gordon Barlow goes to the Cowboys, the tight end out of Georgia. Gordon Barlow kind of reminds me of Brock Bowers. Daquan Flowers gets taken, though, out of USC, the cornerback, going to the Bucks. And they definitely need some help because we just killed them in the playoffs. The Seahawks draft Mike Ballantyne, middle linebacker out of South Carolina. The Chiefs at number 27 draft Jaw Taylor, a linebacker that we were kind of looking at a little bit, good pass rushing linebacker. I think he's 6'6" as well. Scott Pearson, the left tackle at Oklahoma State, getting drafted, going to the Dolphins. And then we have a couple more picks left. Hopefully we still have our player available. Jermichael Lincoln going to the Eagles, the free safety out of USC. And the Steelers are the last team in the way of our draft pick. And they draft Dalton Wimbley, the right guard, and that means that we have whatever player we want. And so, looking at our big board, we had a couple players still on here that we really liked in the early rounds, and really the number one player is Brian Jackson. Brian Jackson, his skill set is a little bit raw, but yeah, I know he has A carrying. And his physicals are very good. 4.29, 40. Very high 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Pretty tall. Again, why is the carrying important for a wide receiver? Because he's going to be kind of our combo receiver. He has 96 speed, 94 excel, at 6 feet tall. Very low strength, good agility, good change of direction. And again, normal dev is not ideal out of Ohio State, but he potentially is going to fit in as our running back wide receiver combo player, kind of like Cordarrelle was, and he could find himself being a big part of this offense alongside Lionel Hebert. Now, the first round is over, and the Ravens have the first pick of the second round, and they drafted Justin Bronson, the middle linebacker out of Alabama that we were kind of interested in. We're going to go ahead and advance up to our pick. Sean Spellman gets drafted to the Commanders. Kind of funny. Sean Spellman reminded me a little bit of like Sean Taylor, and he goes to the Commanders. It's kind of funny. Number 6, Pete O'Brien. The Panthers are going to draft Matt Powell. We have one player on the board that's really interesting here, projected as a second to third round pick. We are, in the second round. He has very low block shed, has A zone, A pursuit, B tackle, 6 foot tall. Could potentially be a safety or a linebacker here. His stats are crazy. He's got very high 3-cone, very high 20-yard shuttle, very good broad jump and vertical, good bench, and he's got the fastest 40 at the right outside linebacker spot. Nathan Walls, 89 speed, 91 excel, pretty good change of direction, strength and agility and jumping, and he does have hidden development. And again, he could be potentially a safety even. He does potentially fit that mold with his zone coverage and his pursuit. We just don't know what his hit power is or his tackling, so we'll have to wait and see. And so now we're going to go ahead and move forward in the draft to our next draft pick in the third round. All right, so we've already drafted a couple of linebackers, a D tackle, and a wide receiver here. And what are some more needs that our team has? I mean, really, that Nathan Walls could be a safety. That is a possibility, legitimately. And I don't think I've ever made the switch on a linebacker getting drafted, moving him over to safety. All right, we're going to stock up on linebackers a little bit more, and we're going to take Darryl Graham, 6'5" linebacker with 84 speed. Another speed rusher here. We're going to go ahead and try to trade this pick away for next year. And we're going to trade it to the Bills. And the Bills might have a very good record. It's very possible. Casey Patterson getting drafted to the Falcons out of Washington is an interesting pickup. All right, now on to the 5th round. And we have some players that could be available. I want to get Jamario Gates. This guy could also potentially play safety. And he has hidden dev, which is nice to see. 91 speed, 90 excel. And again, the reason I liked him is because he has good tackling. He has C tackling, and he has decent hit power potentially between A and C. For a corner, that's pretty solid. His man coverage is very low, but his zone coverage is decent. Again, that's kind of why I think he could potentially be a better corner or a better safety than a corner. All right, we're going to draft John Baldwin, the right guard, and he has normal dev. We don't know his overall, but potentially a backup right guard. All right, looking at the draft recap, we're going to go to the entire NFL draft recap. So Sanborn gets taken number 1 overall. He is a 77 overall left tackle. Let's see what kind of development he has. Hidden dev, so yeah, that's obviously a great pick. Yeah, he's looking pretty good. Very high speed and excel, so yeah, that's a very good left tackle. Klein gets taken next, 79 overall, and up to an 81 as a rookie. 6'7", 322 pounds. And he has hidden dev as well, and he looks crazy. His stats are already jumping off the board a little bit more of a run blocker than a pass blocker. Or actually, it's just more, he has more power than he has finesse. But, yeah, very good right tackle. Again, I wish we could have had the opportunity to draft him. Chance McAllister, 95 speed out of a corner is really nice. Ronnie Lang getting taken 4th overall, 6'3", 74 overall. Kind of more on like the Cade Cody type of quarterback. He's got a little bit of everything. His short and medium accuracy is pretty good. Pretty balanced at QB. Not like a scrambler per se, and not like just a pure like strong arm quarterback either. Gabriel Whitlock going to the Vikings. Now this is an interesting pick because again, Gabriel Whitlock is going to be the future starting quarterback for the Vikings in our division over Matt Stafford most likely. He's a 73 overall. 6'4". He's got good throw power. He's not the fastest quarterback, but he has very high deep accuracy as a rookie to start off with. So that's nice to see. Good injury rating, and so we're gonna be playing against Gabriel Whitlock quite a bit, along with Marco Keaton now, and Otis Benedict, the 6'6" right outside linebacker out of Arkansas. Getting drafted by the Bears. He has, let's see, what's his athleticism at? He's pretty fast, 82 speed, 85 excel. So he had good power moves, good pursuit, really bad zone coverage, mostly just a pure pass rusher here. But yeah, looks like a good player that we're going to have to kind of battle against in the division for a long, long time. And our pick, Sean Hazelwood, 6'5", 254 pounds out of Clemson. And he is not much of a pass coverage guy, mostly a speed rusher, but 86 speed, 90 excel, 73 hit power, 78 finesse already, and he is going to be filling in for that Max Crosby role, and I really believe that he is going to be better than Max Crosby. I think it's definitely possible. His pursuit is really good. Again, his zone is very low, 54, but Max Crosby's wasn't that high either, but I see him slotting in and immediately making an impact with his speed, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does for the team. Tyree Sally, the left tackle, is a 78 overall as a rookie. That's pretty crazy. And then the guy that we also really wanted to draft, Tyron Torrance, the rookie out of Ohio State, 5'8", 99 speed as a rookie. He's got really good carrying, pretty good change of direction. And yeah, he could definitely play a little bit of everything here. And yeah, it looks like he's going to be a great fit for the Jaguars, though. And it's kind of funny because we ended up drafting, let's look at Tevin Barrett first. Tevin Barrett, 6'2", goes to the Cardinals, 85 speed, 88 excel. He has pretty good hit power and pursuit. And his block shed's really low for a DN, but yeah, he's mostly just a pure pass rusher. Looks like he's going to be pretty good. And let's see, so Tyron Torrance and Dontrell Parker, this is who I'm also interested in. He's a 73 overall, 93 speed, good power moves, good finesse. His block shed needs to go up quite a bit. It's almost a 70. Good speed and excel, good hit power. Yeah, happy with him for sure. And because he has hidden dev, he's going to develop pretty quickly for us. He's probably going to be starting. Eli Gore ends up being a 75 overall. Looking at anybody else, Rayford, who we were considering drafting, is 74 overall. Marquise Nash looks like he's pretty good. Anyone else? Ballantyne is going to be good for the Seahawks at a 77 overall as a rookie, is pretty solid. Brian Jackson. So Brian Jackson is also out of Ohio State, and he has 96 speed. So him and the other wide receiver out of Ohio State, Tyron Torrance, both are very speedy wide receivers. You know, Tyron Torrance, I think, was 5'8", I think. But Brian Jackson, 6 foot tall, good change of direction, really good carrying. And again, I think he's going to slot in, and he might take over that role for Calvin Austin as the new Cordarrelle for us. I mean, he could straight up play wide receiver, but we already have enough wide receivers. He has normal dev. I really see him kind of being more as a versatile running back and fitting exactly, like that Cordarrelle role. Now that role is vacant, we need somebody to fill that role on the team, and I think he slots in and fits that role perfectly because he is a little bit taller as well. So Calvin Austin, 5'8", it's kind of hard to get him the ball at times over the middle of the field. See, Justin Bronson looks really good. 90 speed as a middle linebacker is great, and he's going to be going to the Ravens. 74 overall. Sean Spellman, very slow, 86 speed. Anyone else that's really jumping out? The Vikings also got Kenny Westbrook, middle linebacker. So we got Nathan Walls here. This is the interesting one. So Walls has 89 speed, 91 excel, hidden dev. He's good tackle. He's a 73, or no, he's actually a 70. Yeah, no, he's a 72 overall. That's what he is. Okay. So his man is okay. His zone is pretty good. And he's going to be more of our coverage linebacker. Going to be kind of like a Damon Clark sort of. But I like what he looks like too. He's got very good injury and stamina ratings. And again, another hidden dev player. It does not hurt to have on the team. All right, looking at our picks overall, so we already saw Brian Jackson, Nathan Walls, and Dontrell Parker and Sean Hazelwood all looking really solid. After that point, Darryl Graham, 64 overall, a little bit of a project, but could be good as a speed rusher eventually. Jamario Gates, the corner. Let's look at him. He is a 64 overall with hidden dev at 5'11", very low man coverage, good zone. He is a project for sure. Not going to be playing anytime soon, kind of similar to Pat Hopkins a little bit at free safety. Probably just not going to touch the field for quite a while. And then we got John Baldwin, the right guard. He's a 63 overall. And we got Christopher Wallace, the D tackle, who is a 61 overall. Kind of just like insurance as another backup D tackle. All right, so I'm going to spare you guys the preseason highlights, and we're going to go straight into the cuts. So first of all, we're cutting one of our backup halfbacks. We're adding a couple people to the practice squad as well. Christopher Wallace, our D tackle, was never going to be able to make it on the team as a 61 overall. We ended up just deciding to cut him loose. And then at cornerback, we're down to 8 players that need to be cut, and we are going to cut Gregory Jr. 91 speed, 70 man, only 62 zone coverage. At 25 years old, he wasn't eligible to be on the practice squad anymore, so I decided that it would be better just to cut him. And then looking at the free safety spot, I was looking at Jamario Gates and Pat Hopkins a little bit to see who should make the roster. Right now, both of them are hovering around the mid-60s. And I was thinking, maybe I don't need to cut him. But ultimately, Jamario Gates, I decided to move to the practice squad, even though he does have a hidden dev. At strong safety, we have 4 very solid strong safety options, with Josh Jones being our strong safety number 4. So we decided to, despite the fact that I like Isaiah Palomau, we decided to cut him. Bernie Street and Alex Small and Dorian Thorpe all end up getting added to the practice squad as well, along with Stephen Murphy, who, again, are 5'5", 4th-string running back, and then John Baldwin, our right guard that we drafted in the 6th round. He is going to be on the practice squad as well. Now, the thing that sucks is we're going to go ahead and advance here to go to week 1 of the season, and Look at our practice squad getting completely poached. We had a full practice squad, and we only had 3 players left over after this. Almost all of our players were poached off the practice squad. The only one left really was Stephen Murphy, our 5'5" halfback. Pretty much everyone else was ripped away from the roster. Looking at the offensive side of the ball, not much is going to be changing along the O-line. The only thing that's the major difference is Nicholas Petit-Frere has been moved over to left tackle, and he'll be starting in the place of Tyron Smith, who we traded away mostly because of his lack of availability due to injuries. Quentin Posey still starting at tight end. We still have Colby Parkinson and Juwan Johnson as backups. At the wide receiver spots, nothing has changed. Cooper Kupp is our wide receiver number 1, Jamison number 2, and then Antoine Andrews at number 3. Lionel Hebert is our number 1 halfback, of course, with Stardev, and then Brian Jackson is our new Cordarrelle Patterson as he left in free agency, and we didn't have the chance to re-sign him after the initial free agency periods. So Brian Jackson is going to fill that Cordarrelle Patterson receiving back role for this team. Kyle Juszczyk still at fullback, and Jake Zimmer, obviously, our QB1. Taking a look at the defense, the D-line, Dontrell Parker is going to be our starting D-tackle with Nate Vasher as the backup, Trey Hendrickson and DeMarcus Lawrence as the left and right end. At cornerback, Patrick Surtain and Tariq Woolen and Eric Stokes are our top 3 corners. And then we have Zion McCollum and Jacoby Durant as our backups. At free safety, the linebacker converted to safety Nathan Walls will be starting, and that will be a big difference for this team. We have not had a solid free safety since season 1, and Patrick Hopkins kind of filled that role for a little bit, as well as sometimes Ryan Neal was filling that role for us in the previous season. Isaiah Simmons, obviously our number 1 player on defense at strong safety, aside from Surtain. And then looking at left outside linebacker, Baron Browning is still starting. Damon Clark is our backup middle linebacker. We're going to see how that works out because his man coverage and zone coverage are pretty low. He's not much of a coverage linebacker. He's more of a run stopper. Christian Harris is moving up to that middle linebacker number 1 spot after the absence or the leave of Kenneth Murray Jr. And then at left outside linebacker, the 8th overall pick in the draft, Sean Hazelwood is taking over for Max Crosby. And I look forward to seeing what he is going to do for us at that left outside linebacker spot where he's going to be rushing the passer a little bit, dropping back into coverage a little bit as well, using his giant 6'5" frame and his 86 speed and 90 excel. I look forward to what we're going to have going on in Season 3. And the biggest difference about Season 3, aside from the new draft picks, is that we are upping the difficulty even more. It's going to be all Madden Sim, but with increased sliders for difficulty. So expect much closer games, much better and more interesting competitive kind of gameplay. And I look forward to Season 3 with you guys. Really excited about these rookies that we have on the team. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already. And peace, you guys.